Alright, I'm back. Lost in the memory in front of me. He has turned gaze outside, staring at some point past the buildings, blocking the view of the sky, equally lost in his thoughts. He's a vexing man under so many standards. However, in this moment, the morning light streaming from the window lenses features a certain air, softer, less severe than what he often flaunts. I might as well be looking at a different man. There's a tender note in his voice when he finds it. The words mutter under his breath, not intended for anyone but himself. Nevertheless, it reaches my ears, unintentional as it may be.
You're right. She deserves someone far better than me.
Oh, this is new. I mean, yeah, look. All that talk about self-worth makes some sense now. It isn't some profound knowledge he pulled out of his arse. It has come about because he's already there, likely still stuck in the middle of it. Preaching about your own personal experience is easier after all. Less room for mistakes, for more for the dosing of self-loathing. More for a dose of self-loathing. What a complicated man. Just when you thought you've already figured him out, he does one thing and says the other. People like him are the most difficult to gauge. Gauge, yeah. Far harder to understand. Yet, it might exactly be for this reason why some are so easily charmed by him. It's the mystery that catches them, wanting them to find out what's underneath that bravado. I'm gonna count myself among those things. Yet his winning personality isn't exactly my cup of tea. But sometimes once you get a glimpse of what's behind that machismo, empathizing with the man isn't such a steep hill to climb. If the comfortable silence we all know shares anything that is. Perhaps this is as close to friendship as we get. Several insults flung around, with shared silence in between, and that's not exactly a bad thing. He's not exactly a bad guy either, despite the awkward start we have had. He's not a bad guy, but he's just an asshole. But he's still a cheating asshole. Maybe it's for this reason that I can't resist throwing in a little comment to lift his mood before leaving him.
You know, Luke, you're not such a bad person.
You say that now, but wait until you go to the housewarming party.
Is that supposed to make me feel better? I'm touched, Daisy.
That's not Rebecca.
Take it how you will, but a little attitude change would help. A lot.
Bollocks. Right, of course. Let me know when you're done with your lecture, ma'am.
And you can probably start by not leaving your wife out while you're having some quality time with your goddaughter. Who knows? Maybe that'll help change how the child sees her.
I mean, look, as annoying, rude, and sleazy Luke is, he's still a human after all. But he did kind of deserve getting hit. He kind of deserves getting hit with the book, though.
Where did you even get the idea I'm leaving my wife out? Have you ever even met?
No, but I did see her with you two last time.
His indifferent expression quickly dissolves with a confused scowl, while I met it with matching perplexity. It has only been 2 days. Surely his memory isn't that bad.
What? When was this?
At the cafe, after you left. She was sitting right beside you. Kylie was at the back and you were driving.
Daisy, are you sure you haven't accidentally hit yourself with your own book? Because that damn thing's quite thick, and I'm really getting worried about you.
Her name is Rebecca.
It has only been a few days, and concussions can be dangerous. I suggest you have that checked.
Well, you asked. I just answered. It's pretty rude to make her wait like that, by the way.
How can I make her wait when she's not even with us?
At her house, moron.
What?
It was just
What?
Kylie and I that night.
Oh.
Now you're just pulling my leg.
Luke exhales long and drawn out, his impatience rapidly changing the companionable or air around us. In the face of it, I tense. I accidentally stepped into another minefield. And any chat I've had with him so far has been like this. Why this still surprised me, escapes me, but above my worries of offending the man is my own bewilderment. I remember well enough what I saw that night, yet he says something completely different.
Wifey was out with Kylie's mummy that night. She wasn't with us.
Oh.
How do you think I ended up on babysitting duty?
But in the front seat. And Kylie's...
Must have saw someone that looked like her.
Miss Pink!
Kylie's sobs reach my ears first, then her familiar weight returns around my waist again. Hot tears seep through my blouse as she buries her face in it, her arms winding tightly around me. Luke and I briefly exchange worried glances, his own lips shut tight with concern. Her cries are soft enough not to attract much attention, but most of the visitors have been ushered inside the classrooms now anyway. Those that still linger, though, watches our group with great interest and concern. If I don't get a better handle of the situation, I have a feeling Luke will start yelling at everyone soon. Kneeling, I gently pull the girl away from me, cooping her face and wiping away tears, creating little trails on her cheeks. Her mouth is drawn into a miserable pout when she peers up at me.
All right, Kylie, calm down. What happened?
It's my friend.
That's a little too vague, Munchkin.
Let her speak, Luke. Who is it, Kylie? Melody? Or was it the other one?
Yeah.
Did the two of you fight?
She nods and then immediately clams up after letting her sobs communicate the story instead, or as much as her shaking shoulders can tell me. Right behind me, Luke gives a nervous huff while he shifts on his feet. He must not be used to handling children crying. What a wuss.
Sweetie, I won't be able to help you if you don't tell me what happened.
Oh yeah. Seconds pass before she responds again. The tears are already gone when she finally musters the strength to talk, her cries subsiding to more sniffles.
I wanted to give her the rest of the jelly babies, but she won't come out.
Where? Where is she?
In the little girl's room.
Of course.
Is she still there?
Another
I
nod.
won't say what's wrong. I kept asking her, but she told me to go away. Career day's going to start soon. I saw the prizes Miss Alice will give us for good. She's gonna miss it.
Is that what you told her?
Yeah, she won't listen. She won't even take the jelly babies. After I saved it for her, too. She and Luke wanted to eat the red ones, but I told him it's not for him. Miss Pink, can you talk to her? Tell her to come out, and I'm really upset with her.
Just a little childish argument then. Times like this, I'm glad I teach teenagers mature enough for petty squabbles. I do love being around children and won't mind having one or two of my own in the future, but it takes a different level of patience to teach several of them. I honestly admire my colleagues who willingly took the challenge. Normally I'll leave this for their homeroom teachers to fix, but I can't just ignore the imploring look she looks at. She shoots me. That's another weakness I'll have to steel myself against before I ever think of having one of my own. For now, I give in to it.
Okay, tell me where she is, sweetie.
Sighing, I stand up and gesture for her to lead the way. Luke trails quietly behind us. Even with the small distance in between, his apprehension is palpable, understandably so. No one wants to be caught in the middle of a children's spat. But in the end, this is all part of my job. I can't just shy away from it, can I? Kylie escorts us to an adjacent hall. At this hour, the corridor and the rooms lining its sides are empty. Save for the gentle rustling of leaves, the twittering of birds outside, and the tapping of our foot against the floor, the whole area stays eerily quiet. Not unusual though. This is the part of the building reserved for club activities at the end of the school day, and with the rest of the school busy with another event, it's only natural for it to be this deserted. Come afternoon, right after class, it'll once again be filled with people. For the time being, I focus on the toilets and at the far end, heading straight for it. Luke stays behind, opting to wait for the end of this drama instead. Obviously not wanting to deal with another person's kid. Meanwhile, Kylie follows right after me, unusually silent as we approach the ladies' room. Sometime before we made the turn the hallway, she finally stopped sniffling. She has stopped sniffling and starts singing a tune under her breath.
London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady.
Probably to brace or calm herself, or maybe this is her way of preparing to pull her friend out of the sulk. It certainly reminds me of another person. I make no remarks on it, however. It's all part of growing up, they say. Let her learn. The door is slightly ajar when we get to it, and from inside the sobs of a girl echo weakly, barely audible even in this kind of hush. Turns out Kylie is not the only one upset about this. Despite the situation, a smile forms in my lips as I call out to her friend.
Hello? Hello there? You're Kylie's friend, aren't you? Melody, is it? She's looking for you.
Children can be amusing sometimes. So amusing. Granted, they can be exasperating, especially around this age, but the endearing things about them outweigh those. All you need is enough level of patience.
Career day's about to start, too. You'll have to come out, or you're going to be really late for it. Miss Alice won't be happy if one of her kids isn't there. I heard she brought little gifts for everyone who'll behave. Don't you want to receive one?
However, her cries show no sign of abating. They only grow louder. Not even close to a wail. Alarming regardless.
Are you okay?
From where I'm standing, it almost sounds like she's in some kind of pain, and it's not impossible. They do that at times, hiding what ails them for fear of a reprimand. If it's like that, coaxing her coaxing her out might be useless. It also makes sense why she chose the loo furthest from the classroom. Wasting no time, I gestured Kylie to wait and amble towards the door calmly so I don't alarm her. At the same time, a distinct sense of deja vu hits me. I've been in this position before, behind a door with someone crying on the other side. My calls ignored as their cries grew into a wail. This is just this past week, actually. Even so, being in the same situation before doesn't bring any comfort. Putting up for a child beside me is a thick undercurrent of worry trickling into my stomach. I took one last breath, then I nudged open the door. It all happens in a span of a second. I don't make it past 2 steps in the room. Her cries abruptly stop. Light footsteps shuffle behind me, coming to a halt at the door. My heart skips a beat, and when I turn...
Kylie?
Oh God! Oh no! She's got the Jim Carrey smile again.
Miss Pink? Miss Pink? Why didn't you help her?
What do you mean? My body becomes motionless at the sight of her. Words catching in my throat, and my heart pounding rapidly against my chest. This is Kylie, I'm sure of it. Yet nothing in the manner she speaks or the way she tilts her head in question carries the youthful, innocent vibe she always brings with her. As if I'm merely looking at a dead, hollow imitation of the child.
Can you hear her? She's asking for your help.
But it is not. But it's not. But it is. But it. Damn, I can't speak. But it is not those that trigger a memory. It's those chilling eyes, calling, beckoning.
Why won't you listen to her?
All at once, the memory returns to me. A tide that receded and now returns to shore with an overwhelming force, carrying images of a single moment from days ago, of a world passing by in a blur of features that can barely discern under the little light there was. Not even a week has passed. In this minute, while I keep my eyes trained on the child before me, they will return. Such unbearable clarity. There's no horrid wounds this time, no blood streaming down a pale face, thank heavens. Just lips contorted into a small, twisted smile. Just lips contorted into a small, twisted smile. They brim with venom I've never expected to see in a child. Sitting pinpricks of the dread crawling up my limbs and winding up my neck. You're a bad person. People like you deserve to die. What the fuck? The fuck I do to you? I can't breathe. Those whimpers and laughters again. Judging, mocking, taunting. Each scathing word ringing sharp and true against my ears. My throat closes in. My whole body tenses. A child settles at the tip of my linked fingers. Every digit gone rigid from the cold. With every single draw of breath, any struggle for air or freedom, the coils wrap around my body tightens, dragging me down. A gradual, torturous descent into another bottomless abyss. On and on and on until I lose touch with myself and the world.
Help me.
Until darkness claims me and unexpectedly a note in the distance, harsh, piercing and cutting through the thick stupor and shattering the haze without
Are you
warning.
ladies done with your business here? I don't have all morning to wait for you two.
My eyes snap open and the world shifts into a place within a rigid gasp. When I glance up, a different set of eyes greet me.
Are you okay, Miss Pink?
I will be when you get away from me. No anger, no vile hatred in them, just plain sincere concern. Bit by bit, I become aware of my surroundings and myself as warmth steadily slips back to me. I reach out for the nearby counter to steady myself at some point, and my knuckles have gone white from how rigid my grip on it is. It's over now, yet the tension hasn't left my body. My heart still hammers hard against my chest in erratic rhythm, and my breathing still comes in short, shallow bursts. Before me, Kylie fumbles with her hands, utterly unsure what to do to an adult, in what's probably a laughable state.
Did you get sick? I'll call Teal, okay? Stay here and don't move.
No, nope.
No. No need. Just leave me alone.
Teal will know how to fix you. Oh, wait, okay?
No! I wish I could speak reassurance to her, but I can't shake it off. The dread is there, twisting my insides in anticipation of what I'm no longer sure. Pushing myself off the counter, I break off into a run, brushing off the anxious look Kylie gives me when I gently push her away on my own. Brushing off the anxious look Kylie gives me, I gently push her away on my way out, or the furrow in Luke's brow when I stumble into him outside. Whatever they both saw in my face, I care not to know. Bloody hell, I don't even understand what's happening anymore. The tremors continue long after the last of my classes have ended. Although none of my students have commented on it, I've caught a few sharing anxious glances every time a pen slips from by hand and my shoulders tense whenever called. How unusual it must be for them to see the normally composed Miss Gales become a bundle of nerves. Even the most boisterous ones have given me less grief today. You think being on my fourth cup of tea will provide any comfort, or is it the fifth? Egad, why does the counting matter now? The fact that I can't easily shake it off this time should tell me something. The last time this happened, I passed it off as some lapse in my part, after having been sick the week before.
And it is a natural conclusion.
Those are just stories. A centuries-old lore passed by the locals to keep children in line. What place doesn't have those? One of my DOS books even went as far as to describe them as a strong part of Isabella's culture. 3 giants, women who feed on unborn children straight from the mother's womb or hell. There's even that one story about a demon baby. All folklore that never have a smidgen of truth in it. Probably the most to scare off the natives there back in the old days. Much like every other one in every place. the world is more universal than people care to think. But looking at it from where I'm standing now, after staring into the eyes of that woman, after all the things that I've been hearing and feeling, perhaps there's more to that bloody letter than some awful Halloween prank.
Perhaps Isabella's right all along.
Gee, you think? A terrible thing if true, though that thought doesn't linger out long, thankfully. Soon, the ringing of my mobile takes my attention away from it. An unfamiliar name flashes before me once the screen lights up, and my brow knits together. Marianne McCullough. Staring hard at the screen, I try to remember when I've entered this person on my contact list. It takes a moment, but when it clicks, my eyebrow zeroes in on the book lying wide open on my table. Loaned out from the library almost a week ago. I met the woman there by sheer coincidence. A fellow history buff apparently. We were after the same book, but in the end, she's given it to me under the condition to call her once I'm done. To be honest, I've completely forgot about it until now, and well, haven't really taken a peek at it until today. Normally, I'd be done with the whole volume of this size a few days after taking it about one or two, depending on how busy I am. But finding another chance to sit down and read through it has always been more difficult lately than I anticipated. One moment, I'm busy simply grading worksheets, attending a movie period the next, then someone's suddenly inviting me out for one reason or another. Days later, a friend stops showing up in their flat right after worrying reports pop up in the local news. There isn't simple enough time to breathe and get a grip on things. I have been flipping through the pages of said book moments ago, though I never really read anything and merely hoping for a distraction, to no avail. My phone gives out another ring. This time I do not hesitate to answer.
Marianne?
Hello. Here I was starting to wonder if it was a bad time to call. Is it?
No, not at all. I dismissed my last class a few minutes ago. I'm pretty much free for the rest of the afternoon. Unless something comes up. Is this about last time? The book?
Not really. I was hoping to ask you about some other thing.
Oh, sure. What about?
You grew up in this city, didn't you?
It's a peculiar question to ask someone. Ask to someone you've just met, but I answer her nevertheless. I'm more curious where she's headed with this by starting with that.
Born and raised, third-generation migrant. Why do you ask?
So, you must be familiar with the local lore. The, stories?
Quite. If I'm going to teach about history, I'd like to think I am, yeah? But a family friend would be a better person to ask. If you want, I can contact him for you.
No, let's just keep this thing between us, okay? It's nothing too big. Alright, I really don't know how else to put this without sounding a bit crazy. But things have been really, odd.
Define odd.
Do you remember the mansion I mentioned back when we met? My current project?
In hindsight, I should have expected it'll lead to this. She must not have lived here long if she's going to ask about this now. It didn't take a week with Isabella when she arrived, but that's Isabella, superstitious down to the last last hair, my bad. Though, you wouldn't be too far off to think Marianne is the only started thinking about this recently. Hasn't only been. She's working on the damn house itself. I must admit, even I'm curious now, despite living here for so many years and having so many chances to look it up before.
The Ermengarde mansion, yes?
Yes, that one. And, the thing is... Oh dear, this is a bad idea. You know what? Just forget I ever called you about this.
Why? It must have been the sunny weather. It's making me sick and see stupid things. See things?
No, wait. It's all right. I don't mind.
There's a moment's pause before she responds again. She's right in that this is a silly thing to talk about, especially between what I assume two people are pretty grounded on their beliefs with regards to these things. I don't blame her if she hesitates. I won't blame her.
I can't believe I'm asking you about this.
It's fine. Why don't you just think of it as some form of research?
Well, all right. But after this, we're going to forget we ever had this talk.
My lips will be sealed. Now, what is it about the mansion?
Just, what do you know about it? The general gist. The place is past. What happened to the owners? Anything you can give me.
Let's see. To start off,
I do my best to give her a concise summary from the time the house was commissioned 400 years ago and who had it built up to the point where it got deserted after the last heir's death and the deed was passed on by the Amesgar's nearest relatives. Frankly, if for those urban legends persisting, the house would have already been faded into obscurity long ago, demolished even. Those are nothing. They are all nothing she probably hasn't heard of before, yet there's dissatisfaction in her tone once I finish.
That's all there really is to it?
as far as I know. There's this little bit I forgot to mention about Lady Charlotte Ermengarde's death, but most of those are just theories. Aside from that, this is really everything we've been teaching all these years. Should there be anything more?
No mention of any other weird stuff? Other crazy stories?
Aside from it being haunted? Probably.
Or a letter of some sort?
Oh shit. My blood runs cold. Any warmth of comfort of the tea I've drunk has given me has instantly been drained out of me. The phone creaks softly as my light hold on it turns into a firm grip. This whole letter bullshit is starting to turn into more than a coincidence.
None that I've heard or read of. What does a letter have to do with this?
Oh, no. It was just something I came across.
I think I know what she's talking about.
Ignore it. Random thoughts, you know? By the way, I need to run. Thanks for answering my questions.
She ends the call abruptly with only a clipped goodbye, leaving my mind heavy with even more thoughts. The mood around my classroom has gone considerably denser in light of what little I've gleaned from the conversation. Yes. I don't think Marianne's lying about her intent. Her interest is genuine, I'll give her that. But she's left a lot of things out. I get the sense she only asked because of something's happening around her too. And if she hasn't mentioned the letter, and if she haven't mentioned the letter, I probably would have ended the connection.
Just what the hell did we get ourselves into?
I have no idea, Rebecca. Of course, there's still a lot of confusing details in this. All of those are just assumptions. No concerned conclusion to be formed with what we have. And if we want to find out what we're really dealing with, I think Marianne's right. There might be something more to those stories. As absurd as it sounds, the very place that gives us that letter might tell us something beyond what we know. And tomorrow night I have a few hours of that chance at the housewarming party. Totally not excited. Totally not an exciting thought since the place is privately owned now. I just can't wander around. I can't just wander around. But it's enough reason to keep the dread at bay as I step out of the class, ready to put an end to this day. However, those good vibes disappear into thin air when I run headfirst into Luke. There's really something in this man, regardless of how much of how much my opinion of him has changed over the span of a few hours. He simply blasts through every good impression people have of him without care or thought. He doesn't even have to open his mouth. His mere presence does it. In all honesty, I think he's the kind of guy only a mother can love.
You're still here?
Obviously. Who do you think's standing in front of you?
An ass.
Oh, come on, Daisy. You've done better than that. Losing your touch?
Luke, I don't have time for this. I'm heading home, and your face is the last thing I want to see before I leave. What do you want?
Belatedly, I noticed his hand, partly raised above, poised for a knock. At a slight of lift of an eyebrow, he quickly drops it to his side and turns to Kylie. She's standing a few steps away from him, holding her hands behind her back, and toeing at something on the floor with the tip of her toes. Then he proceeds to make vague gestures at me and the child. He resembles a fish flopping for air with the way he's moving his arm, though I think he's trying to urge her to speak up.
Munchkin, I thought you wanted to tell her something.
You do it, Teal.
This wasn't my idea, darling.
Don't worry. I won't tell Tia what you told me the other day. And this morning.
Luke exhales, rolling his eyes at the ceiling and maybe praying to the universe to grant him more patience. He knows a losing battle when he sees one. Maybe he may act worse than a 5-year-old throwing a tantrum at times, but he's no match for an actual child. Better than being served a dose of his own medicine, huh? Once his frustration has been promptly let out, he points a rude finger at me. I do my best to stare the offending digit down, but I can already hear the demand before it's even out of his lips.
You, come with us.
What makes you think I will?
Because little Rugrat here is upset and worried, and it's your bloody fault.
Oh, damn.
I've no idea what happened this morning, but if you don't come with us, I won't be hearing the end of it from her. So do me a favor, Daisy, and just be glad I'm inviting you.
Her name's Rebecca.
You're asking for a favor, and you can't be bothered to be polite? I don't know. It's been a really busy day for me. I kind of miss my couch.
Daisy, you just say yes.
A pause follows, almost too dramatic. Afterwards, his face twists into something between a grimace and a smile. As it happens, he appears like he's in a lot of physical pain. You think the man is getting an aneurysm simply being polite.
Please?